Hey, I'm Mika, and today I want to talk about 10 things I think you should know about Japan prior to your trip. These are just some fun tips and facts that I think are interesting and might be surprising to people who've never been to Japan. And these are just some things that I've learned over my many trips of going to Japan. So hopefully you can learn from this and avoid a weird, embarrassing situation or two. Fact number 1 is trains stop running at midnight. Usually trains stop running between midnight and 1 a.m. and they don't begin running again until 5 a.m. So that means you have about 5 hours of no train service. So what are your options? What do you do if you miss the train? Well, you have two options. One is you can take a taxi, or two, you can stay out all night. The taxi option. Many people don't do this because the taxis in Japan are so expensive. There is also a 20% surcharge for nighttime taxi. If you're going out close to where you're staying and you're staying in central Tokyo, this is probably much more manageable. If you're with a group of people, this is probably a fine option because you can split everything. But if you're by yourself, this is just not an affordable thing, and this is why many Japanese don't do this and instead do option number 2, which is stay out all night. Insane, right? So staying out all night, what do you do when you stay out all night? 1, you can bar hop. 2, you can have amazing late night ramen or eats. And 3, which is quite a common, is going to a karaoke bar. Usually they have like these late night deals that are meant for people who kind of miss the train. They're affordable and you can just have a fun time. You can do a combination of all 3, which is also very common. I'm not much of a clubbing person, but I did end up having this situation happen to me once in the last trip I went. We missed the last train and we decided to just stay out until the 5 a.m. first train, which is a lot. I don't love this feeling, but it's kind of like a nice like cultural excursion, I guess. Like you learn a lot, you see a lot, and you do a lot. We did a combination of bar hopping and having some late night eats, and I think the most interesting part of the whole situation was going back at 5 a.m., waiting for that first train and seeing the masses just like waiting on the platform. So I thought that was one of the most memorable parts of my trip. Trains stop at midnight. Be prepared at the time when it starts getting late so you don't get surprised with a huge taxi bill or an all-night unexpected adventure. Point number 2 is eating alone is completely normal in Japan. This is one of my favorite parts of Japan. I like to travel alone and like kind of tour the city on my own a lot, and dining by yourself is just so easy and normal there. And it's not like the West where you kind of have this weird social pressure. In Japan, so many people do this, so it just doesn't feel odd at all, and it's actually kind of liberating for the solo travelers out there. Another fun point about dining by yourself is if there is a place with a super long line and you're a single diner, you tend to not have to wait as long. I really like this katsudonya shop in Shibuya, and I first went there 6 years ago and it was only filled with like salarymen. Now this time around I think it blew up on social media, and so there was like a long line filled with tourists. And I got there, I only had to wait 15 minutes versus everybody else's 45 to an hour. I had a quick dine and a quick out, and it was amazing. So I highly recommend, if you get the chance, to just kind of explore and dine by yourself while you're in Japan. Point number 3 is shoes are taken off in more places than just the home in Japan. So I think this is something that most people know, but in Japan you do have to take your shoes off when you enter somebody's home. But taking off your shoes is not just exclusively to the home, it's also in public. One place that I think a lot of Westerners are surprised that they have to take their shoes off at are changing rooms. So like at Uniqlo or wherever you're buying your clothing, fitting rooms in Japan tend to have this small little square area or carpeted area where you step into, and you have to take your shoes off before you enter. Nowadays they have signs, so hopefully you don't like get too confused, but when I was younger they didn't, and I stepped on that area with the shoes on, and that was not good. Another shoe kind of related thing that shocks a lot of people is in gyms, you have to wear indoor only gym shoes. So that means a pair of shoes that have never touched the outside. This is a thing I think a lot of Westerners are shocked at. I don't know if this is something that also applies to hotel gyms. I'm not sure. They might be more westernized, but just keep this in mind as something you might have to deal with. And some overall other places where you might have to take your shoes off. Depending on the temple, you might have to take your shoes off. Your room, if you ever stay in a ryokan, which is like a traditional Japanese inn, usually you have to step up into your room and you have to take your shoes off. Old school restaurants might also have you take your shoes off. A little tip about this, just to keep things straight, usually if you see other people removing their shoes, it's a good sign you also have to remove your shoes. If there's an area where they're providing you slippers, that's also a sign where you have to take your shoes off. And nowadays, I think they have signs that say shoes are bad, dame, whatever. Take your shoes off. Point number 4 is convenience stores or konbini are the most amazing things ever. This is probably common knowledge at this point because it's all over the internet. There are 3 major konbini chains in Japan. They are 7-Eleven, Lawson's, and Family Mart. Each of these chains have unique products. For example, Family Mart is known for their famichiki, and this is basically a warm fried chicken cutlet. The food is incredible in convenience stores. They tend to be really high quality and really cheap. There are so many different things you can choose from. They tend to have a lot of pre-made and ready-to-eat options ranging from sandos, which are sandwiches, onigiri, which are rice balls, bentos, even perfectly cooked flavored ramen in like little plastic containers ready for you to eat. I have done this many times for breakfast and it is incredible. They also have amazing desserts, fun drinks, and other snacks. I think one of the coolest things if you go during the hot season or summer, the ice cream selection in convenience stores is insane. There are things in shapes and forms and flavors that you never even thought would be in an ice cream. It's a really fun thing to just go around and try. And so because of the prices are so cheap, you can just kind of give yourself a little treat every day. One of my favorite things to eat at a convenience store is the tamago sando, which is egg salad sandwich, and they cost around $3, which is so cheap. It's like such an awesome lunch, and it happens to be praised as inexplicably delicious by the late Anthony Bourdain. It really is inexplicably delicious. Like, you don't see this little sandwich and think, wow, it's gonna taste so delicious, but it does. It's soft and pillowy, and it's like this perfectly seasoned egg salad on this crustless, soft Japanese shokupan. It's just a really good, solid, surprisingly amazing sandwich. If you get the chance, I really think you should try it. Another thing about convenience stores is they tend to have microwaves, hot water dispensers, drink machines, including even like smoothie mixers, and seating areas for you to have your quick meal and then get out. And beyond the food, which is again the best part of most convenience stores, there are other options that they provide. They provide ATMs, useful services like bill payments, package delivery, ticket sales, and they are one of the few places where you can find trash cans in Japan. The 5th point is there are 3 major types of payment methods in Japan, including IC card, credit, and cash. Let's talk about money. The money form in Japan is called yen, and as of the end of August 2025, $1 is equal to about 147 yen. Let's get into everything else. Okay, so IC cards. IC cards are rechargeable contactless smart cards used for transportation. So basically they are train ticket cards, but in Japan they can be used for so many different things outside of just the train. You can use them for small purchases at vending machines, convenience stores, and some restaurants and shops. The major brands of IC cards are Suica and Pasmo for the Tokyo region, and Ikoka for Kansai. They work across major cities, so you don't have to get multiple. For example, when I traveled to Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, I only used my Suica card, and it was super fast and simple and easy. IC cards can be bought both physically from a ticket kiosk or digitally on your phone, or if you're like me, you can use a physical card and get it digitally on your phone. I love having it on my phone. It's the easiest thing in the world to continue adding money on. Loaded in seconds. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to go to the kiosk. And it's really simple to just tap your phone onto the turnstiles on the train station. Only negative is if your phone is dead, you don't have a transportation card. So that's the one thing to keep in mind if you are concerned about your phone dying all the time and being stranded. Maybe go for the physical, but personally, I think the digital is a game changer. Okay, credit cards. So credit cards are accepted at most places in larger cities. The major credit cards that people use are taken are Visa and MasterCard, which are widely accepted. I usually just use a Visa, and other cards are dependent on the place and can be a little bit more difficult. Now, if you go to a rural or smaller town, you probably will need cash, but there are some instances where they use like digital payment methods, which is kind of cool. And the last method is cash. When you're using cash, you'll be receiving a lot of coins in yen. Yen comes in 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, and 500. And these coins are quite commonly used. So much so that I would recommend using a wallet like this. I have this vintage Coach wallet that has a huge coin purse, which is very helpful when I travel to Japan. I think one thing to keep in mind because of this coin system is when you get change back, bank, you will probably get a lot of coins, and those coins are actually quite valuable. Don't consider this the same as American change or like European change. Think of them as more like dollars instead of cents. Keep them. They're worth money, and they're actually used a lot in Japan. People use them at vending machines, gacha machines, and for small purchases all the time. And I also wanted to include some quick general tips about money in Japan. 1, you don't have to tip at restaurants. 2, prices are inclusive of tax. Sometimes they show a tax-free price, but they also show like the tax price afterwards. They have this thing called tax-free, which many shops offer for foreign tourists if you spend more than 5,500 yen and you have your passport. And then point 4, cash or payments are handed on a plastic container. They are never handed directly to the person. You tend to put it on a little square dish or whatever and then pass it to the person. Point number 6, you'll walk and take public transportation everywhere. This is a quick point, and this is something I've touched on in a previous video, but I think the average tourist walks between 10 to 20,000 steps, so keep this in mind. It's probably more of a walking vacation instead of a sitting vacation, so make sure you bring those really comfortable shoes that are also versatile. For the most part, you will be able to walk and take public transportation everywhere, which is awesome, but keep that in mind for your little feetsies. Point number 7 is etiquette really matters in Japan. Japan has a lot of unsaid cultural rules, and I'm just gonna touch on a few because there are just too many to go through, but I think these are the major ones that I think you should keep in mind. And I'm gonna break them down into 2 categories, 1 being your physical surroundings and then 2 being your volume. Number 1, be aware of your surroundings. One major example that I think a lot of people are shocked at when they go to Japan is standing on the correct side of the escalator. This actually matters where you stand on the escalator. In the Kanto region, like Yokohama or Tokyo, you have to stand on the left side, and the right side ends up being like the fast lane, the lane where people are walking up, right? People have to go places in these major cities in Japan, so you have to be respectful of that and like don't get in their way. You're a tourist, but they're going to work, so like let's be respectful. But beyond this rule actually changes depending on the region. So if you go to Kansai, which is Osaka, Kyoto, it's flipped to the right side, so you stand on the right side and then people are moving on the left side. I think what's really funny is like you feel like really confident after being in Tokyo for a while, and then you go to Osaka and all of a sudden it's flipped and you're like, what's going on? It's happening, and just follow it. Okay, another point about your physical being: don't block streets or walkways. If you're confused and you don't know what's going on and you don't know where to go next, pull over to the right side, pull over to the left side, pull outside of the movement. Think of it like you're a car. If you stop, you don't stop in the middle of a 4-way highway, right? You pull off to the side to figure out where you go next, then you go back on. Think this is the same way in major cities of Japan. There is so much foot traffic in Japan, so if you get overwhelmed, you don't know where you're going, just pull over. Don't stop in the middle and then cause even more traffic and issues for the people around you. Just be cognizant about what's happening in front of you. If there are people doing something, follow along. Now let's move on to the next category, which is don't be loud. This is just a common thing. Don't scream, don't yell, don't play music loud in public. Essentially keep your indoor voices. And this also applies to trains and public transportation. Don't speak too loud, don't play music, don't answer phone calls in the train. That's actually really rude. And a little fun extra tip that I think you should know is sumimasen is going to become your favorite, most used word when you're in Japan. Sumimasen means excuse me, I'm sorry, but it's kind of a little bit more complex than that. It can be used to apologize for small inconveniences like walking into somebody, but it can also be used to get somebody's attention. Like if you're at a store, you can say sumimasen to get the clerk's attention. It can also be used to express like a deeper form of gratitude. But overall, if you're just feeling overwhelmed, you feel like you're not doing things correctly, like there's all these cultural norms you don't know, just say sumimasen, and I think people will understand that you're trying. So it's a good word to know. Point number 8 is suitcase forwarding services, or Takkyubin, are a traveler's top asset. If you happen to overpack or you have too much luggage, there's amazing suitcase forwarding services like Yamato Transport, Kuroneko, this is like the most common one, Sagawa Express, Japan Post. They are a luggage delivery service that ships your suitcase from one location to another. So you can ship it from the airport to your hotel, hotel to airport, hotel to new hotel. It's really amazing. You pay a fee and the suitcase will arrive. Many travelers say it's one of the biggest game changers they have when they're in Japan. It just lowers their stress level. They don't have to worry about traveling with this huge suitcase in public areas. It's just a really great stress reliever, and this is something to keep in mind if you plan on having a large suitcase. I have used this many times in the past, and it's phenomenal. Point number 9, trash bins are rare. So many people are surprised to find such few trash cans across Japan in major cities, especially like Tokyo. And this is for a multitude of reasons, including public safety, societal emphasis on cleanliness, and Japan's super strict waste separation program. Japan is an extremely clean society, and you may ask, what do I do with my trash then? Well, don't throw it on the ground. You carry it with you for your entire trip until you are able to dispose of it properly. Many people say they can't dispose of it until they get to their lodgings. If you're lucky, you can dispose of it at convenience stores, and they're one of the few places that have trash cans. But how do you carry your trash all around with you? That's where I keep talking about this little bag, but the shupato bag was something I used all the time because it folded down into my purse. I had it at a moment's notice. If I had like an extra water bottle, or I got something to eat but I had the garbage and I didn't throw it away, I would just put it in my shupato bag, and it became once again a very valuable thing to have. Bring an extra tote, mini tote. Some people bring like plastic bags, but I don't like the way that looks, so I like having this foldable, reusable tote. Then you can carry your trash without looking like you're carrying your trash. And another quick tip about this, if you find a trash can that's super full, don't put your trash next to it. That's not good. Let's not litter. Just hold on to your trash till you can properly dispose of it. And the last point is department store basements and top floors are an awesome foodie's dream. So in the basement floors of major department stores like Isetan, Takashimaya, Mitsukoshi, they are filled with gourmet food counters, sweets, bento boxes, and supermarkets. This is something a lot of people don't know about, but a lot of locals shop at. They have high quality, affordable food and meals that are ready for you to eat. This is a really great place to get bento boxes for Shinkansen trips, or to have like a low-key dinner in your hotel. They are also a really great place to find omiyage for your friends and family when you're bringing back stuff. For me, I love to grocery shop in these basements. I love seeing the high quality produce and the interesting, more unique, higher quality items sold there. Check it out if you can. Now let's talk about the department store upper floors. Most department stores have entire restaurant floors, usually in the upper floors 6 to 10 to 12. They offer a wide variety of restaurants, cafes, and a huge array of different types of cuisine. So anything from Japanese, Italian, Chinese, Thai. They tend to have much more locals dining there. And these are places where, like, whenever I visit my family, we always go to department store restaurants, and they are amazing. I have had some of my favorite meals in these department store restaurant floors, including omurice and like a beautiful matcha parfait. So keep this in mind. If you have nowhere to eat, go to these restaurants. They tend not to be as busy, and there are so many options, and I think it's really, really delicious. All right, so that's everything. Those are the top 10 things I think you should know about Japan prior to your trip. I hope you learned something. I hope this was a helpful video. For those of you who have been to Japan, let me know in the comments what else you think is vital. There are a million other things to know about Japan, but I thought these were the funnest. I thought these were the fun facts to keep in mind. Thank you very much for watching this far. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!